Good evening, everybody. Shimon Hashem's name will be blessed forever and ever. We're going to talk today with Hashem about the laws of Yom Tov. Yom Tov means in Hebrew good day, but Yom Tov in the Jewish halacha also means a holiday. We have in plural Yamim Tovim. We have Yamim Tovim. The three Yamim Tovim or Yom Tov from the Torah are three, which are Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. Okay, they are well known. The one that we are Be'ezrat Hashem about to celebrate will be Shavuot. Shavuot means weeks. The weeks that we're counting from Passover till the 49th day. It's the holiday of Shavuot. Shavuot is a week. Shavuot is weeks in plural. The people of Israel counted the days, excited to receive the Torah. The laws of Shavuot will applies to all the other Yamim Tovim, the Yom Tov, the holidays. This year, 2022, it's going to be May 5th, which is Sunday, meaning we're going this year from Shabbat directly to the first night and the second night. The first night is also customary to stay awake all night and study Torah, and we'll see why we have that custom. This custom is something it's customary in many communities twice a year, once in Sukkot and one in Shavuot. We'll see the reason for that in a minute. There are special laws in regards to Yom Tov. Yom Tov is a little bit different from Shabbat. In terms of Shabbat, you can drive, and of course on Yom Tov you can drive. The main difference between Shabbat and Yom Tov is that on Yom Tov you may cook for the joy of the holiday, the simcha of the holiday. Not on Shabbat, of course. So we can use only an existing fire and use it to cook on Yom Tov. And we can distinguish this fire, and we'll learn how to do that. So we can cook for the simcha of the Chag. This has been customary for many years from the time we received the Torah. Through the days, the people of Israel celebrate the Yom Tov in Eretz Israel, celebrating and doing shechita, and doing a lot of barbecue and a lot of fun and good days. So this year, May 5th, 2022, starting on Motzei Shabbat, Saturday night, goes the way to Sunday, outside of Israel, going to Monday, and Monday night, we're doing the Havdalah. The festival of Shavuot is celebrated on 6 Sivan. Now it's a Jewish calendar. 6 Sivan, this year, May 5th. On the day after we complete the counting of the 49 days, or 7 weeks, of the Omer. This festival is called Shavuot, meaning weeks, based on the verse, the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy 16:10, you must count for yourself 7 weeks, and so forth, so on, and you must make the festival of weeks, Shavuot, for your God. So what does that mean, to make it for God? The Talmud says it should actually be half for you and half for God. What is half for you, half for God? I'll give you an example. Okay, so half for you, celebrating, eating, drinking, barbecuing, a lot of good sleeping, resting. And half for God is obviously going to tefillah, prayers, reading the Torah, studying Torah, and some has the custom to study all night, either at synagogue or at home. Depends on how much they can put effort into it, and if it's possible to go to the synagogue. Obviously, men and women are equal, can participate. And customary to see in many places, especially in the land of Israel, they have a lot of synagogues, Baruch Hashem, Ken Yirbu. People studying all night, people walking in the street, 3, 4 a.m., and the lights in the synagogues are on. It's a great celebration. We are excited. It's the day, the very next day we receive the Torah. Okay, so I'll bring up a question later. You need to remember, before Shabbat, what women do right before Shabbat? Lighting candles. Thank you, Esther. What about Yom Tov? So the mitzvah is in every household, lights must be kindled in honor of the Yom Tov before kindling them. One must recite the blessing. Just follow your Siddur. May you, God, our Master, King of the universe, be blessed for having sanctified us through His commandments and for having commended us to kindle the lights of Yom Tov. So those who are on Gerut and conversion process don't do commended us yet. After finishing the conversion, yes. What is it?
Emergency.
Yes. שמנו את זה מעלה מנורה למעלה. מחוץ לבית. אני נשארתי לה בהודעה. Sorry guys, it was an emergency to find a key for a place that we do chesed for people that coming for surgery from Eretz Yisrael. Okay. Now, Sephardi women don't say Shechianu on lighting the candles of Yom Tov. What you need to do, you wait till you hear Shechianu and the Kiddush. Okay? It's best that the woman not recite the blessing of Shechianu when they kindle the Yom Tov lights. Instead, they should fulfill their obligation of reciting this blessing by listening to their husbands reciting it is as part of Kiddush. Okay? So this is the whole custom. It's different in compared to Shabbat. It's a little bit different in lighting the candles. What does that mean? The setup is the same. You can do regular wax candles. You can do oil candles. It's all good. The only thing is, before Shabbat arrives, let's say Shabbat, lighting candle times is 7. So you have to light a little bit before 7. 6:58, 6:59, it's good. Right. On Yom Tov, some people do the same. The light, right a minute or two before the time's up. The best method would be, the better method would be, not to do that, but to wait till the husband and the kids coming back from the synagogue. It could be 8:30, it could be 9, I'm exaggerating, okay? It could be an hour later. And using an existing fire, and lit the candles then. What's the reason? Give me, what?
You can always light later, but you can't light earlier for Yom Tov.
For Yom Tov, I can use an existing fire. On Shabbat, it's going to be desecrating the Shabbat. Yom Tov, I can use fire. Why should I wait till everybody comes back from the synagogue?
So everyone can hear the bracha?
Everyone can hear the bracha. Thank you very much. Everybody can... What?
It's preferable. The woman would light also the candle, but it's preferable to wait for the husband.
Right, on Yom Tov, because everybody can reply with Amen. Everybody can participate in the mitzvah. So it's best to wait on Yom Tov only, not on Shabbat. God forbid, okay? Another special custom on Shavuot, unlike any other Yom Tov, Pesach/Sukkot, is that the custom is to eat dairy food on the festival of Shavuot. One reason offered for this custom is that when the people of Israel received the Torah at the Mount of Sinai, they automatically understood all the mitzvot of the Torah through the 10 Commandments that God had spoken from the mountain. Okay? As Rav Saadia Gaon explained, when they returned to their huts to celebrate the places, okay, to the occasion with a festival meal, they realized that it is impossible for them to prepare any meat on such short notice. All of a sudden, there's laws about slaughtering and shechita, and what you do with the blood, and how you cook it, and why you you separate the fat, and all that. Ooh, so many halachot. Everybody want to eat shish kebab, but they can't eat shish kebab. It's going to be a lot of preparation and salting and all that. What are they going to do? So what's the alternative? Dairy food. So after all, they will first need to prepare knives and sharpen them until they were free of any nicks and could be used for kosher slaughter. Then it would be necessary to remove all forbidden fats and sino and sin was from the animal, to salt the meat, to rinse it clean of its blood, so forth and so on. And in order to cook it, all this preparation. There we have had new utensils also. Since the pots and the pans they were used yesterday had observed the flavors of the food, they were no longer kosher. It's true that they had man. Fine. Hashem gave them man. Hashem took care of his people. Fine. But people could eat whatever they want. People could eat cucumbers, could eat fruits. They bought it from whatever they brought with them, and they also bought it from the people, the merchants, that came close to the cloud. So if Israelite wants to buy, I don't know, cilantro or any other vegetables or fruit or whatever, he would walk out the clouds, he would buy, and go back. Okay? Nonetheless, they have the manna for all these 40 years, and they were pretty much covered for everything, but people want to have a different, more colors on the table, a different variety of food. Beside all this, it is agreed among our sages that the Torah was given on Shabbat, and of course, no one could slaughter or cook on that day. Therefore, they made their meal that day with the dairy foods. In the memory of that occasion, we eat dairy foods on Shavuot. So some say, hey, Rabbi, Yom Tov, we're supposed to eat serious food. What are you going to eat? Pizza? Pizza is good, I don't want to ruin anybody's business, but Shabbat. Lafa, shawarma. So, what are you going to do? So I told them, let me think for a second. I have an idea. Eat dairy, clear the table, and then eat meat. No problem. You can eat dairy and then eat, right? So in order to fulfill the mitzvah, eat maybe a yogurt, eat something small to celebrate the occasion, and then go for the real deal. Some have different custom. They eat at night dairy, and in the morning they eat the meat. Or the opposite, in the night, first night they eat after the kiddush meat, and in the morning when they do lunches time, they eat dairy. That's the main custom, I think, outside of the land of Israel, because the very next night in Israel they do Havdalah, but we celebrate the second day. So again meat. So the deal is what many people do, first night they eat meat, in the morning is the dairy, and the very next night is going to be meat again. So if you fulfill the mitzvah, there's always ways to beat the system. Okay, I think, yeah, fine. Any questions?
What is the most common thing to do? Dairy and then meat?
It's up to you. It's really up to you. It's really up to you. Different customs. I tell you, I know. We did many years in my family. In the evening we did meat. In the morning we did dairy. And of course, kids complain, no dairy. So they clear the table and everyone brought meat again. So it's up to you. The Torah Chaim offered another reason for this custom. The Midrash teaches us in the Shocher Tov. It teaches us that when the Blessed Holy One offered the Torah to the people of Israel, the angels complained and they were not worthy of receiving it. The people of Israel were not worthy of receiving it. The angel wished to keep the Torah for themselves. In response, the Blessed Holy One said, quote, "Why are you always accusing them of sin? You yourself ate meat together with milk." Hashem is telling that to the angels. When did that happen? Abraham. You said when you visited Abraham. This is what the verse says in the Rashid. He took butter and milk and the beef that he prepared. Yada yada yada. This is the Rashid, Genesis 18:8. Upon hearing this, the angels withdraw their complaint, having no argument to counter this. Since we won the right to receive the Torah because Abraham fed dairy foods to the angels, we likewise ate dairy when we celebrate receiving the Torah. After eating the dairy food, we cleanse our mouth and continue to eat meat at the meal. In this way, the angel will witness how we are superior to them, for we are careful to separate between eating dairy and meat foods. We can really go a little bit to philosophy here and ask questions, all that. Sometimes just the appearance, meaning that, angels, the bottom line, they don't eat. Angel doesn't eat. So what does that mean? What's the comparison? We didn't eat. But the appearance look like they're eating. And they also show it before Abraham. They took the food and they consume it in their hands. Okay. Some says that they chew because when they go down, they have to act like people. Anyways, the appearance was like they're mixing meat and egg. That alone is good enough for the argument. We need to be very careful. And we must take care to refrain from eating dairy foods until at least how many hours? 6 hours. Doesn't matter if this is chicken products or beef. It must be 6 hours in between. I would say just calculate two main calculation that the food is still being digested for 6 hours and it's still in the stomach, going through the body for 6 hours. And also for food that's stuck in the teeth, it's there. I don't want to discuss it, but that's a fact. Even if you floss and you clean, it's still have to go through 6 hours. Some Hasidim pious even wait a whole day. Some eating 1 day dairy. They're waiting 24 hours. Yeah. This is the tzaddikim, very high level. This is you can reach high. There's some people don't eat meat all week, only maybe on Shabbat, and not even on Shabbat. They only eat on a holiday when it's a mitzvah to eat. On the holiday meat, if it's not necessary, they don't touch meat. There's a reason for it. Do you think the people of India are not eating meat for no reason? They have a reason. They learned it somewhere along the way. If you want to be more spiritual, you have to stay away from these kind of things. So, because also there's a lot of problems, especially for Jewish, if it's a kosher meat, not kosher meat, kosher slaughter, not kosher slaughter. So the tzaddikim, the mekubalim, according to Kabbalah, are trying to stay away from this kind of things. They more focus on Torah learning than of food. Okay? Some people live for food, and some people eat just to live, to survive. That's the main difference. For fish, you just wash your mouth, and it's good enough. See, I'm a psychic. Thank you. About your question, it's yeah. Go ahead.
Fish and cheese.
I don't want to show off too much.
Fish and cheese.
Fish and cheese is among the Ashkenazim and the Yemenite. The custom is to mix between the two. According to Sephardim, you don't mix between the two. So you can eat lox with cream cheese, for example. They separate. According to Hanaruch, some says it's a mistake that was on printing in the books, and it says stay away. Anyways, the custom is for Sephardim is to stay away. Stay away from it.
You
Separate. You don't have to keep. You just eat fish and eat dairy, or dairy fish, one after another. Just don't mix it together on the same plate or on the sandwich. Yemen and Ashkenazim doesn't have that custom. They can eat it together. According to Sephardim, is not good because it can cause, according to Sephardim, tzara, some type of sickness or leprosy or whatever. Nonetheless, you see people eating it and there's nothing happening to them. There's no problem. But Sephardim just refraining, and they have some other reasons.
I'm sorry, Rabbi, going back to the fish with the meat, you said fish with meat, all you have to do is rinse out, correct?
Rinse out. You can eat, usually you eat
It's on separate
fish,
plates.
and then you eat meat. You can do the opposite, vice versa. You can eat meat and then fish. Doesn't matter. Just don't eat them together.
Okay.
According to Rambam, it's better to eat fish first and then meat. Rambam says you go from the light to the heavy. So you can start with vegetables or fruit or soup, and then you go up to the fish, and then you go up to chicken, and then you go up to lamb or goat, and then you go up to beef. I mean, if you want to do that. So he says if you do that, you maintain a healthy life. You don't just stuff yourself with the heavy stuff. Because it's all about the juices in the stomach and the acid that need to consume this food. Go ahead.
After to eat the fish, how many hours?
You don't need to wait at all. You wash your mouth, you eat a little bit of bread or fruit, something, cleanse the mouth, and you can
eat
dairy. Yeah,
dairy.
yeah, just not together. So it's 6 hours. You'll hear people from Holland keep only 3 hours, some 1 hour for chicken. This customs, they need to ask their rabbis. I don't know. We're all keeping 6 hours. Someone asked once Rabbi Ovadia, what if I can't keep 6 hours? Can I do less? Rabbi says, if it's really necessary, you can do 5 hours and 60 minutes. So,
5 hours.
it's a mitzvah to eat beef or mutton to fulfill the precept of acting in joy on the festival. People get excited. It's fun. It's good. Please put yourself on mute because I can hear you. You have a question? I'm sorry.
How are you, sir? Thank you for covering it. Yeah, you can see it too. Been a long time.
We can hear you. So guys, if you have questions, just put yourself on mute.
It's me.
Oh, it's not good.
You're taller than this. Oh, I know. I've gotten shorter.
Dr. Ari, we can hear you.
Hold on a second.
You need to put yourself on mute.
Slicha.
You're treating a patient and...
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just put yourself on mute if you can. Thank you. Okay. He is in the hospital. Only have a shikna every day, every Tuesday.
And he's still here, Baruch Hashem.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. He's making efforts to hear Torah. Great learning. So, someone says, Rabbi, I can't eat meat. I like to eat schnitzel. Nonetheless, the original schnitzel came from Austria. It's from beef. I like to eat schnitzel or pargiot or whatever. Can I switch beef with chicken products? Is a mitzvah to eat beef, as we said. And then, even so, if someone cannot eat it for health concerns or because of the lack of proper kosher standards, he may make do with fowl, F-O-W-L, which is birds, fowl, sorry, bird or chicken. It is likewise a mitzvah to drink wine and aranis to celebrate. Aranis, what? If you're not familiar with aranis, please contact us on the phone number on the Yom Tov. But one must be careful not to drink too much or eat too much for that matter, because what he's showing, the main purpose of the holiday is drinking and eating versus celebrating for the sake of Torah. We're eating and drinking so we can be strong and go to the Bet Knesset and daven and do more mitzvot. That's the whole idea. It is important to avoid trivial frivolity. For that, it is not what we meant by the mitzvah of being joyful on the festival. We need to show that the focus is Torah, it's the mitzvot, it's the Torah learning, it's the Chasadim. Recommended to be joyful in a manner that enhances our services of our Creator. The very next one is very special and beloved halacha by women and kids. It is likewise a mitzvah to bring joy to the women in the household by purchasing clothing and jewelry for them. Also, the mitzvah is to bring joy to the children by giving them sweets and treats to enjoy.
I'm sorry, Rabbi, I didn't hear that. What was that?
Oh, that? And I repeat that. A woman should be treated with new jewelry and clothing. Okay, should I repeat that for the third time? all the mess. Shh. So, in many communities, the custom is that they go to the whatever they go and they buy them. You give them money or you buy for them. It depends on your custom. I tried in my family to do that. My wife's always returned and doesn't want it. Yeah, very nice of you, but actually the color, your money for you. I said, I don't mind. Huh? So I've learned quickly. I just give it the money, go buy whatever you like. We'll save time and balagan. Okay? So it's a great mitzvah and everybody's happy. Don't forget to say Ya'aleh ve'yavo and ve'kiddush in the Birkat Hamazon. Another reason why we need to be, or main reason why we have to be awake all night when we're studying Torah. The common custom throughout the communities is to remain awake through the night on Shavuot.
The volume on this, I could not hear. Volume of this, please, come here.
Yes. On Shavuot, and to study Torah without interruption. I don't know how to do this. Mute all. Okay. Some just don't know how to do the mute. So the common custom throughout all communities is...
I could not...
just mute everybody.
I could not hear.
Do you need help, Rabbi?
Yes. Okay. So, the common custom in the community is to remain awake through the night on Shavuot and to study Torah without interruption until dawn. This custom is based on the passage of the Holy Zohar, it's from the Kabbalah. Quote, the pious of the earlier times did not sleep at all during the night of Shavuot. They remained awake and engaged in Torah study throughout the night. They would say, come, let us take possession of the holy tradition for our sake and for the sake of our children in both worlds. Also, in the preface to the Zohar, page 8a, we are taught, quote, whoever recites the Tikkun during the night with joy, recorded in the heavenly chronicles, the blessed Holy One will bless them with 70 blessings and grant them crowns from the supernal world above. So for some, it's hard to say the Tikkun. It's a book. It's like a Siddur. We go all the way from the Torah, a few verses from Bereshit, all the way to Devarim, and then Mishnah, and Talmud, and Zohar, Kabbalah, and Tehillim, and all that. So for some, it's just hard. It takes longer. I don't know what's the reason. They get bored. I don't know. It's okay to sit down and study whatever you like. Unlike Sukkot, that you can put a video and hear maybe a live broadcast of rabbis giving Torah classes, on Shavuot it's prohibited. So the only way is to prepare yourself in advance. Bring books that you like to read, whatever, can be Agada, can be Talmud, whatever you like. And try to stay awake as much as you can. If you can't, the more, the merrier. At least change your schedule. Every day you go to sleep around 11, 12. Try to survive as longer as you can. If you can't, stay through the whole night. The very next morning is going to be an early minyanim anywhere you go. And after that, everybody goes home around 7 and 8 in the morning. Usually they go to sleep. They were awake all night. And they wake up before midday, which is around 1:20 something. So around 12, you wake up, you do Kiddush. have to do Kiddush before the midday. So you schedule your time, prepare it accordingly. You don't fall asleep. If you fall asleep till 2 or 3 o'clock, you miss the Kiddush. So prepare yourself accordingly. Prepare a watch. One day someone asked me if he can use his phone as I says, yes, I use it myself. I use my phone as, what do you call it? Another clock. Alarm. Okay. As an alarm. It's easy to fix, but I don't touch it, of course. I already prepared that he will ring only for 30 seconds or a minute, whatever. One time, I didn't know that it's possible. I think the first time it was ringing the whole Shabbat. So like almost 6 o'clock in the morning. Bing, 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 bing. Everybody wanted to kill me. Till the phone dies. So from after that, I prepared that it will ring for 1 minute, 30 seconds. It's enough for the right volume. And that's it. You can fix it a few times, as many as you want. Make sure you wake up, you do the Kiddush, and all is good.
The midday, what time is it around?
I don't remember right now. It's around 1:20ish something. So make sure to do Kiddush around 12 or 30. You can do even around 1, but just be careful not to pass the time for Kiddush. Okay? It's great not to waste all these special holidays with sleeping. Why? Because this is such a special day to the people of Israel. Let me tell you. As we've learned before, event that happened in Jewish history, the world history, like Torah, receiving the Torah, or the Mabul, the flood, no comparison, or the destruction of the temple, the first and the second. The same kind of energy comes to this world at that time. So the times of Nisan is the time of redemption, Geulah. Focus on praying to Hashem for redemption, for salvation. A great energy comes down to the world, the time of Shavuot. This year, May 5. It's a great energy. Torah came down to the world, the same exact time. Use it wisely. Study Torah and then ask from Hashem for your needs. Hashem, I need that, I need this, I need that. Things that we really need. Not nonsense, I want a car 2023 or 20... things that really matter to you, to your family, to your children, to your household.
Is the mitzvah to stay up at night and study only for the first night or the second night?
First night, it's the main. Some do even the second night. As I said, the more, the merrier. When I was a rabbi in Young Israel Synagogue, I was giving classes through the whole night. I do 1 hour class, the last 5-10 minutes break. We drink, we eat, schmooze. Some people go out, they smoke, come back, and then again. We did like that 1 year, the Megillah route, the scroll of Ruth, in depth. We go through the commentary, amazing. And it keeps me awake, it keeps them awake. Years later we did something else, something that, bottom line, something that keeps you awake. You can study together with friends, study with your family, study in groups, whatever you guys like to do. So Baruch Hashem, I think here's going to be many classes you can participate, and I urge you to participate in every class you can. So that's one reason. There's another reason that we're staying awake all night. It's to rectify. It's to fix an error. What an error. What happened? You won't believe what happened. Many commentators suggested that although God told the people of Israel when He was going to give them the Torah, they were even counting the days for that. They slept through the night until the blessed Holy One had to awaken them with cracks of thunders that preceded His appearance on the Mount of Sinai. You guys for real? Hashem is giving the Torah. Don't go to sleep, or at least wake up earlier. We must rectify that error by remaining awake the entire night and studying the Torah. Some of the neshamot in this world are from those days. They're rectifying for it. You might be one of those two people. One of the Admurim, I don't know if they're from Tzanz or something. You know, sometimes you have flash of memories from your childhood. I have. I remember things that my parents don't believe me because they says you could not remember that you were 3 years old. But I remember a flash here and there, very accurately. These guys, this great rabbi, remember from the Gilgul before. Some, I remember, says he remember the days he was slave in Egypt. He even remembered the kitchen in his house. He says he remembered the face of the Egyptian's soldier, not soldier, the officer that was beating him. He says, if you put him here among 2,000 people, I'll recognize him. And remember living in Egypt. And I remember the machloket, the disagreement that was with Moshe and Korach. So the student asked him, so on which side were you? You were with Korach or you were with Moshe? He says he was like from the United Nations, in the middle. He said, I didn't take any sides. And anyways, he brings a lot of very interesting story that he remembers, flashes from this time. It's unbelievable, amazing. He just lives, I think he lives around 300 years ago, this Rabbi. So we are rectifying. There's a reason why we are here in this world. The Neshamot is here. There's a reason why we're sitting in this room together and studying it and talking about that. I didn't plan to talk about that. But it's all from Hashem, and don't take it lightly. Hashem giving us many chances in life. Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't get it. But they're going to show it to us. So 120 years, they're going to show you the whole movie. See, I gave you a chance here, and a chance there, and a chance there. You keep skipping on it. Here, you're very smart. You did the right thing. You actually saved your life. You go to heaven. Open the gates of heaven. They will open it. Because you earned it. But some, you have to go back down. Again, preschool. Again, diapers. And again, first grade, then second grade. The whole thing again. Okay, questions? Good. So, one of the questions that people raise is, do I need to say bracha over the food that is served during the night we studying Torah? Because there's food that there's coffee and tea, people eating whatever they like. So if I take coffee now, an hour later, and to say another bracha or a tea, or I go walk out, what's the deal? Because people walking out to smoke, for example, or go to the restroom. Does that require a bracha on the cup of coffee that I already have on my table? What's the deal with that? So, while people are spending their night reciting the Tikkun LeShavuot, studying Torah, they will likely be served tea or coffee several times. Well, it's serves not meaning that they serve you. There's a place in many shuls with refreshments. So once someone had recited the blessing over one cup, it is not necessary to repeat the blessing for the subsequent cups, even if an hour or more has passed since drinking the first one. Even if more than 72 minutes have passed, which is the time it takes to digest a meal according to the halakha, it is not necessary to repeat the blessing. The blessing recited over the first cup covers all the beverages one might drink throughout the night. It is best, however, to have in mind specifically when reciting the blessing that it should cover for all the beverages that one will drink throughout the night. Even when I say 72 minutes, the time that takes to digest the food, remember we said 6 hours for meat, it's still the same. Halacha doesn't change because the taste of meat is still in the mouth. If someone is served refreshments during the night, such as fruit or snacks or soft drinks, and he eats kazait, kazait like size of half an egg, or drinks revi'it, around 80 cc, so that, a little bit less than 3 ounces, so that he becomes obligated to recite a blessing afterwards as beracha acharona, as we do. You know, remember, beracha before and beracha after, for food we eat. He should recite the blessing right away. If he postpones reciting it, he is likely to miss the time limit for reciting Beracha Harona. This time...
Please make it louder. I do not know. No.
Sorry, a second.
This one I already... Nako sa meeting.
Our sage is considered to be a time of ikul, the initial stage of digestion. For food, this time limit is 72 minutes since the food was eaten. For beverages, the time of ikul is digesting, is much shorter and certainly not longer than half an hour. In fact, some poskim ruled that it is only a few minutes. Even though one has recited the blessing after eating or drinking the snack, it is not necessary to repeat the first blessing if one continues to eat or drink afterwards. The original blessing one recited still covered the food one eats now, even though one recited Beracha Harona before continuing to eat. Now, a very common thing, people walking outside of the synagogue or outside of the house just to breathe some fresh air. They go to the porch. Remember the halacha is when we eat, we sit around the table, and when you go out or you go to the restroom, you take your mind off the food. And that's a problem. It might require you to say beracha again. You see, people don't do that on Shabbat. Why? Because we do a motzi. When you do a motzi, there's no problem. Covers for that. You go to the restroom, you come back, forth, it's okay. But when you eat snacks or you drink beverages, coffee, tea, soda, soft drinks, you'll have to say the beracha again if you come back from the restroom or from outside of the house. Right? Whether or not one has this in mind, if someone steps out of the synagogue or bet midrash where he has been studying, he must recite another blessing to continue eating or drinking when he returns. This is in the case he didn't do a motzi, didn't wash. This is so even if his colleagues remained in the synagogue while he's outside. This is related to another halacha when you have people sitting around the table. It's like you're still connected because they are there, they're waiting for you, you're supposed to come back. It's nothing to do with soft drink and something that is not after hamotzi. Stepping outside is considered an interruption to one's eating or drinking. Likewise, if someone enters the restroom during the night, he must recite a new blessing if he wishes to continue drinking or eating snack afterward. However, if someone has eaten bread or cake and step outside or enters a restroom, he does not need to repeat the blessing in order to continue eating afterward. So it's only reply to food that you say shehakol. Anything that the blessing is shehakol, when you step outside or go to the restroom, you do the beracha again. So you might have a soda can. You see everybody hear you. Baruch shehakol niya bidvaro. You drink. And then they see you walk to the restroom, you come back and do it again. Baruch, what are you doing? You said beracha 2 minutes ago. I said, no, I'm going to teach you today halacha. And the halacha says about everything else. So shehakol, if I step outside or come from the restroom, I have to say the beracha again because it's considered as interruption, like a gap, putting a break in between. Okay, it's not the case if you take the drinks with you. So some people take the soda or the coffee with them to the car or to work. So as long as it's with you, it's okay. When you left it there, remember, say the beracha again. Some people love this halacha because I'm going to have a lot of brachot now. I'm going to go out in and out. Shakol. No, you're not supposed to do that. No, you love to do brachot. You want to do a lot of mitzvot. But it's only in the case you have to go out, you step outside, not purposely, in order to gain more and more brachot.
I'm sorry, Rabbi. I was checking the chat on Zoom. You said that that's only for shehakol, right? So
Yeah.
if you eat fruits, you would say a new bracha. Thank you.
Yes. Mezonot, anything that's mezonot or hamotzi, it's not something you do again, and so forth.
Thank you.
Sure. If you plan, I'm going to skip the whole halacha, I'm going to do the bottom line. If you plan to be at night, all night, and schmooze, and just to smoke, and talk, and waste your time, it's better go to sleep. Stay asleep, go to sleep, at least you wake up in the morning, you be in the tefillah, fresh and all good. The idea is, come back to this, to be in the synagogue, studying and learning. If you're wasting your time and your friend's time, you better go to sleep. Okay. You will see this halacha is specifically to those who participating in Ashkenazi synagogues, Sephardim, Yemenite. In some congregations, the custom is to stand while the cantor reads the 10 Commandments. You know, in Shavuot, we're reading the 10 Commandments. So you'll see, they're studying the Aliyah. They read, and all of a sudden, you hear noise. What happened? You look around, you see everybody standing. Oh, so you stand with them. Why? Because right now, they're reading the 10 Commandments. Till the Aliyah finish, and then they sit. According to Sfaradim, according to Yemenite, this is not the right method. Why? Because you show like the 10 Commandments is more important than all the other parts of the Torah. Everything is equal. Okay? But you don't want to look weird. Everybody's standing and you're sitting. But on the other hand, you can't stand because your custom is not to stand in the 10 Commandments. It's to remain sitting. So what do? You have any suggestion? There's a way. What's the way? In some congregation, the custom is to stand up while the cantor reads the 10 Commandments from the Torah scroll. This practice is halachically incorrect. By doing this, the people give the impression that the 10 Commandments were received from heaven, but not the rest of the Torah, God forbid. There once was a time when it was a common practice to recite 10 Commandments from a Torah scroll every day. Our sages in Barachot banned this practice since it enables heretics to persuade faithful but ignorant people that the rest of the Torah does not originate in heaven. They were able to point at the fact that the 10 Commandments and no other passage are recited every day, proving their position. In the same way, it is incorrect to stand up for the reciting of the 10 Commandments to the exclusion of the rest of the Torah. One should protest against anyone who insists and stand up for the reading of the 10 Commandments. See how important it is not to do it. This is certainly the correct course of action if there are Torah scholars present who remain seated when others stand up. They are demonstrating that they think that they know the halacha better than those scholars. If someone must stand up in honor of his father or Torah mentor who was invited to go up and read from the Torah, he should rise immediately as his father or mentor approaches the teva, so that it will be obvious to an observer that is sending of this person honor and not for the honor of the 10 Commandments. In this manner, it is permissible. Bottom line, you're in Ashkenazi shul, like we are here in our Torah. A wonderful congregation, wonderful people, love it, all is good. What do? We see people standing. This is the custom. So the custom is what we do. We're standing right when the guy that gets the aliyah, we're already standing, which is a few psukim verses before the 10 Commandments. So it doesn't look like we're standing for the 10 Commandments. Some people might think that you give a lot of respect to that person. It's fine. In many synagogues, a great rabbi, maybe the rabbi of the shul, or rabbi of the kollel, gets this aliyah, so it doesn't look weird or strange. If someone asks you why you're standing, you can tell them my custom is not to stand from the 10 Commandments alone. So I'm standing from the beginning of the aliyah, the Torah reading of that passage. Is it clear? Understood?
Normally, what aliyot is that?
Huh?
Normally, is there 4 aliyot?
In the holidays, we have 5. Yom Kippur, we have 6. And on Shabbat, we have 7. On a normal day, we have 3. On Rosh Chodesh, we have 4. Okay? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. But the aliyot, when they read the 10 Commandments, do you know, is the number 4?
Yes. The custom is to place, so in some synagogue you see people putting a lot of vegetables around and trees and branches to decorate. And the custom to place fragrant herbs and fragrant flowers in every corner of the synagogue and hymns in honor, in honor of the festival of Shavuot. This is to commemorate how God gave us the Torah, to give the Torah to the people of Israel. Our sages taught in Masechet Shabbat that with every statement that the blessed Holy One spoke, the entire world became filled with pleasant fragrances. This is alluded to the verse of Shir HaShirim, his lips are roses dripping with fragrant myrrh. We also have a custom to set up tree branches in the synagogue and houses, alluding to the teaching of the sages in Rosh Hashanah, Tractate 16a, on the festival of Shavuot. We are judged concerning the fruits and trees. Some people say, hold on, man. You're putting branches, doesn't look good. But some people in some communities, and like Christians, they're putting trees. So they were refraining in many communities to put trees because of that reason. Okay, but although some poskim question the validity of this custom, it is best to allow people to practice it, since well-established customs have the authority of a Torah law. This custom is in particular, is an ancient one mentioned already by Talmudic sages. So it's before the Christians started. We already started. Some says, why, God forbid, why one wearing black clothing when someone be taken to a burial or a cemetery on the ceremony? This custom is by the non-Jews, or put flowers there. What they put in flowers? They say healing. So the halacha permit that, because this customs is ancient even before other religions practice it. So there's no problem to wear black or. So. Nonetheless, you see many communities they don't wear black or put flowers, but if you do, it's still okay. I think we're going to stop at this point and we continue more to talk about the holiday itself next week. We'll talk about how we can cook and how we what is permitted and what is not on Yom Tov. Any questions?
My questions for next week.
Okay. On behalf of Oheb Israel Foundation, I want to thank everybody here for participating. Thank you for supporting our foundation to help family in needs, and also supporting Torah learning. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to text. With Zat Hashem, we'll meet here, same place, same time, next week. God bless you all. On behalf of Oheb Israel Foundation, I want to bless you. Have a wonderful week. Shalom, shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi.